So, what's up, Y? This is your boy Roberto, working on that piece that you had asked me to collaborate with you with to participate in your work and your team's work with the shooter art. And so yeah, that's what I got in mind. At some point, give me some feedback. Either we can, use bits and pieces of this, or I'll come up with something else. But long story short, this is what I got in mind. I'm starting off with this. Let me tell you a story about this little kid who grew up like many city kids, not being good at school, not being good at family. And so, this kid roamed the streets of Manhattan, coming home late, seeking refuge in the summers and winters, playing in the days and nights would be vandalized, developing tendencies that could be dark in energy. On the way to becoming another statistic, this kid decided instead to become a variable, an X. Is it true that we are made up of atoms? Do you acknowledge your power? Looking up at the stars, essentially looking at the past, traveling light years away into the present. The present is you, the gift. Story has it that we are made up of the same elements that stars are made of. Now, inspired to believe we are not only made of stars, but rather we are stars. Light frequencies vibrating slow enough so that we can speak with fellow stars. We can choose to shine brighter and decide what we do with the intensity. We can shake hands with stars, hold stars, uplift them, and we can collaborate to become supernovas and beyond. Here, I believe I am sharing space in a room full of stars. It is an honor to experience your light as it inspires mine. Thank you. Roberto Enamorado, aka Robertoinlove. So, I do want to share a little bit about some things I've been saving along the way, some more recent than others. Seemingly mundane. You have this little earpiece thingamajiggy, right? Put this over your ear, right? And this lights up, right? That's pretty cool, right? You're a little kid, you get this in a cereal box, you're like, all right, and put a cartoon on it, make it fun and interesting for them, and so, kind of looks like something people use when it comes to Bluetooth technology nowadays, right? When you read cereal boxes and they state, no high fructose corn syrup, no artificial flavors, and you're like, oh wow, this must be good. But when you start reading more into the ingredients, it's a lot of deception, right? Being packaged in a way that feeds into your emotions, your biochemistry, and you make correlations that are positive for things that, or for people that don't have your best interests in mind. Similarly, you have this little object here, right? Again, just imagine legions of kids playing with this thing. It's like, oh, look at that, right? Kind of balances out, And, I mean, what does this look like to you, right? Now, this little cartoon character seems cute, but this is part of a publicly traded company. This imagery, these colors, these shapes, these associations you make, this has a real impact on you. At least I believe it does, and I'm sure many people who actually study this type of stuff understand this, which is why I would say that there's a reason why people are chasing so many pills now. These seeds are planted at an early age, like with those Happy Meals. You have a good time, you're playing with toy cars, you get happy, as you become more exposed to media in general and advertisements. It's not an accident that you want a car later on, right? You associate that with some type of pleasure and joy, and sure, we're being programmed all the time to believe that it's our choice, it's all freedom of choice, and that's all this is. And there's no engineering or psychology or science behind this. Like the smartphone that's recording me, all these things are made to be extremely addictive. Anyway, we'll get into that a little bit later, but let me show you this piece I did many years ago. Fire safety notice. I ended up taking this off just because there was a time where I had a few little kids that we would have over and make art, hang out, lots of good times. So anyway, I thought this probably wasn't the most positive piece to have around, but I think it's an important piece. I think I did this back in '06. This is actually a water gun. It was originally fluorescent green. I painted it black. And, very similar to a regular gun. This thing loads up. A little too similar to a regular gun. And I loaded it up instead of water, with a poem. Let me grab that over here. All right, so it says, they plant dysfunctional seed. Later on I changed that to, they plant dysfunctional mentality. But I choose my own dreams. Theirs does not have to be. So I point the gun down and do graffiti. So this piece to me represents finding a way to channel our own energy, and instead of doing things that could be more destructive, doing other things that, it might raise a brow, but also I feel can lead and often do to something positive. And this kid over here, a silhouette of a kid raising a can, right? So think about that, like, I can. A lot of what we see and what we experience is the product of somebody else's dreams or their imagination. You and your experience and these things that we are consuming or consumed by are part of somebody else's imagination. And so, that being said, these people, some of them, are just more ruthless, more relentless about their dreams. And that's the thing, is that you have a choice of working for somebody else's or yours. And it makes a big difference what you're doing. A lot of what you do is really valuable as a human being. There's a value in everything and everybody. And that energy can be shifted and channeled, misdirected, properly directed. And quite frankly, I'll say up front for myself, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know that what I'm doing will lead to something positive. I do know that thus far, so far so good. And which is why I want to leave trails as an example, And if or when things go wrong for me, you know, maybe someone could pick up where I left off. You know, nothing too complex about that. But I would say, taking it back to your work, you know, dream harder, shoot for your dreams. And I would suggest for those people who relate to shoot for something more altruistic.